assembly for one of Vispo's Asuka Langley Soryu motorcycle garage kits. So this kit is pretty special to me because it's what got me interested in garage kits in general, and I wanted to build this since I was very young, actually in middle school, and I didn't have the chance until now. Now what I have in front of me is actually a recast by E2046. I wasn't having very much luck in finding a economically sane original kit by Vispo, so I went ahead and purchased that one, and it's alright. The only problem is that this is one of E's not so great quality kits, and they have a lot of bent and badly casted parts. However, whether you have a recast or you have the original kit, the assembly is going to be the same. So the one that I am referring to in this video, there's a couple different motorcycles that Vispo modeled for Asuka. I believe there's about 3, maybe 4 at this point. This is the one that I'm going to be talking about, the one where she's holding her sunglasses, sitting on the seat, this one right here. So we got this picture here to show us a general idea, but there's a lot of stuff internally that we can't see, and unfortunately the instructions are not very clear. Whether you have the original kit or if you have a recast, all that you really get is a parts list and some very basic instructions on how to assemble. It doesn't go into a lot of detail. However, I started looking at reference photos. I've been reading up about motorcycles. I never thought I would, but I've learned quite a bit about motorcycles just trying to research this kit, and I'm here to teach you how to put it all together. So this is all of our parts. I've actually got a couple of extra parts that came with the kit. I don't know if that was E2046's mistake. Maybe they sent me some extra parts that aren't necessary, or whether I haven't figured that out, but they're minor. So what you'll notice about this kit is that in reality the only thing that really matters is to build the actual frame and place the outside pieces in the correct spot, because that's all you're really going to see for the most part. This is the meat and potatoes of the kit, and the frame holds it all together. A lot of the other stuff is mostly just for decoration. It's for aesthetic purposes. So you can go as detailed as you want. If you are one of those people that likes to make sure everything is built correctly, then go ahead and make everything. If you just want to make a kit that looks pretty good from the outside where people are going to be looking at it, then you don't have to go and put all these different parts together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go part by part. I'm going to go through groups of the motorcycle to try and digest this a little easier. I've already put them into these groups. So here we have the outside panels along with the windshield. Here we have the frame. This right here is the handlebar assembly, front wheel, rear wheel, etc. So I'll go ahead and start with one of the categories, and we'll move from front to back. Now to make sure that you guys understand what I'm talking about, I'm going to be using a little bit of nautical terms. I'm going to refer to the front of the motorcycle as the front, the back as the rear, of course, but then when I'm talking about the sides, I'm going to refer to the left side as the port side and the right side as the starboard side. This is just to avoid any confusion, because I may be looking at the kit from this way, you know, from forward back, and that could confuse some people. So left side, port side, right side, starboard side, just like in a plane or in a boat. Alright, so to get started, I want to talk about the bulk of the kit, main body of the motorcycle. Unfortunately, when I started this kit, I didn't really know what I was doing. I kind of just started putting stuff together, and I started in a way that is not as beneficial as the way that I'm going to tell you to do it. So as you can see here, I took the gas tank. This is the gas tank. I attached it to the main body here, which includes the seat, right? And I attached the frame, the twin spar frame, to the bottom of the gas tank and the main body. Now this is going to be a pain in the butt for me, because the engine goes in here, and it's just going to be a pain to put everything in there and kind of pin it and do all the stuff I need to do when I'm already covering it with the gas tank. I've already puttied it and everything, so I'm going to try and do it like that. But my recommendation to you is start from the frame, put everything together around the frame, and then at the end attach the gas tank and the main body, because everything comes from this frame. Everything is attached to this frame. Alright, so the last thing that I want to show you is how the motorcycle panels attach to each other and to the frame, and then I'll go over how Asuka comes together and the helmet comes together. So you have this front panel, which the windshield attaches to. If you look on the interior of this panel, you're going to find 3 holes. If you look at this piece, you're going to find 3 pegs. The 3 pegs go into the 3 holes so that this notch is on the top part, and the angle of this piece is going up, just like this. And the way that this works is that this piece attaches to this weird looking piece here on the frame, like that, using a wire or a rod or whatever. And I guess that this is the distance that the panel should be away from the body of your motorcycle. This may or may not work. If you have a warped kit like mine, the pieces might not all fit together correctly, so you may have to play around with that. Maybe even in the original kit it might not work perfectly. So the front panel attaches to the side panels as so. You're going to align these 2 corners. You take this piece, and we're looking at the starboard side of the motorcycle. Take this piece and you align these 2 corners just like that. I'm going to have to do a lot of putty work. Then this piece attaches to this piece just like this. You're going to see that there's like a notch, and there's like some grooves right here. They attach just like that. You'll have to find a way to put that together. So in the end, your assembly is going to look like this. And you should be able to see the motorcycle coming together now. It's the same thing on the other side. You know, it attaches corner to corner, just like that. And then this piece attaches like this. Okay? So that's how the panels go together. The front panel has a windshield, which is probably made of clear resin and it now has sticky tack on it. And that windshield attaches to the frame or to the panel just like this. Pretty easy. You might have to use some special glue. Look up how to glue clear parts, because if you use the wrong glue, you're gonna frost it all up. Mine's already all frosted anyway. Alright, this is all that we need for the handlebar assembly. So if you take a look at your main body here, and you look at the frame, you're going to see in the front part of the frame, there's this weird looking piece. This piece attaches to these 2 brackets right here. If you take the thicker bracket, this is the thicker one, and you put it on the bottom, you'll see that it has a sort of peg and hole assembly right here. So this goes on the bottom, should fit snugly. Same thing with the top one. You want to make sure that the nut, this nut right here, is on the top. It fits as so. Take this away for simplicity. So these brackets have 2 holes on either side, and these are for the poles that I showed you earlier when we were talking about the front wheel. But take one of these poles. This thick bracket goes in first. It's going to sit somewhere around this distance. Somewhere around here. Okay? And then on top of this, you're going to place, actually going to use this one, you're going to place this piece, and on top of that, you're going to place the top bracket. Just like this. This is what you're going to end up with. Okay? I'm going to let this fall to the bottom. So you put in the thick bracket first, then you put in this piece, and this is what actually holds the whole handlebar together. Because what's going to happen is you're going to place this piece in here as so. It should sit like this. And then finally you're going to take the actual rubber for the handlebar, and it should fit inside of this peg. Now unfortunately I'm not going to be able to put it in there to show you guys because it's giving me a little bit of trouble. This is about as much as I can put it in there without damaging it. But in the end you're going to have something like this, just like that. Make sure that this is correct. Yes. So as you can see, you can actually see your handlebar now. On top of this, like I said, you put in the thin bracket, and this is what you're going to end up with. So this is how you put the handlebar together. Now, take this out. After you have all that together, just like I showed you, you're going to put your odometer, which is this one, and whatever this is, this knob, onto the thin bracket. So on the back of this bracket, you're going to see that there's a hole on the starboard side. This knob or whatever it is attaches directly into this hole, just like that. As for the odometer, it goes on the port side, and the way that it attaches, you'll probably have to use a wire, you might have to drill a pin, you know, do whatever you need to do. It's going to end up looking like this. Okay, so that's it for the handlebar assembly. We'll get back to it when we talk about how to attach the frame to one of the forward panels in the windshield and all of that. So now there's a couple of things that I want to show you on the body itself that doesn't really belong to any other group, and it's these pieces right here. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory. You have the main body here. This is what I believe to be the radiator. This goes on the forward part of the motorcycle. You're gonna have to find a way to attach it. I haven't seen any peg or anything for that, but you'll have to attach it somehow. It's gonna sit just like this in front of the motorcycle. And I believe that this little piece right here acts as a bracket to place this piece on. So I'm still trying to figure it out. I believe it goes something, might attach like this and onto the frame as so. That's just a hunch of mine, so try that out. Then you have what's probably a water tank, I imagine, some sort of tank that goes on the port side of the frame. You're going to see this little hole right here on this part of the frame. You're going to see what should be a peg, but on this one, mine, it doesn't have a peg, and it attaches just like that. Simple pin will attach it on there. And finally, on top part of the body, you're going to have your seat. So this is your actual seat. Mine is warped to all hell. I believe that it goes on as so. The little looks kind of like bat wings go towards the rear part of the motorcycle, and it should fit snugly. It should fit like this, but it's going to be in this direction. And this is a cushion that goes on the back. You got two pegs that fit into the two holes right here, just like that. Super easy. Alright, so now I want to get into the engine, and this is where things start to get a little bit trickier. So I've already partially assembled the engine. The engine comes in three pieces. It's got the main body, it's got the covers on either side, which I've already glued together, and the cylinder head comes in two pieces. This is what it's going to look like in the end. And then you have your carburetor, which is this horn looking thing, and attaches to the cylinder head right here. This is what you're gonna end up with, give or take a couple of pieces. Now I said before, make sure that you don't place the gas tank on the frame in the beginning. Do that last, because you're going to see how much trouble I'm going to have putting this engine into the frame. The way that the engine goes into the frame is as so. You're going to have the cylinder head on the forward part of the motorcycle, and I'm going to have to try and finagle this thing in there. Okay, I think I might have got it. So you're going to end up with the engine like this. The frame attaches to the engine in three different places. The first place is right here in the front part of the frame. You have this piece which attaches to these connectors. You're gonna need a brass rod for that. And then moving on to the back, same deal here. You have this piece of the engine, uses a brass rod to attach to these connectors on the frames. And then if you want to be really safe, I believe that it also attaches right here to the frame. Same deal. Not to these right here. This is where the swing arm connects to. So this is how you want to attach your engine to the frame. I don't have any hoses or lines or anything on it, but this is what it'll end up looking like. Alright, so a couple more detailed things about the engine. This is the exhaust, very simple. You have the forward part, you have the rear part, it attaches right here. It's going to end up looking just like this. Very nice. Okay, and actually on the rear part of the exhaust, if you want to get really technical, there is this bracket that goes on here as well. Just like that. How does the exhaust attach to the engine? This connector right here goes on this part of the engine right here, just like that. Boom. Very perfect fit. Another thing that attaches to the engine, and here's where we're going to start getting into very small pieces, are these two pieces right here. So this piece, you can tell, it's going to be kind of blurry, but you can tell what it is because it's sort of an L shape. L shape like this, L shape like this. This connects this part of the engine where you see this hole. Trying to make this a little better for you. You see this hole right here. This peg fits into the hole as so. And it's very hard to grab without tweezers. It's not going to go in the hole, but it attaches in that hole, and then the other part, focus, the other part attaches to this part of the engine right here, where there's supposed to be a hole, but on my cast the hole isn't there. And then this piece goes on top of the cylinder head right here, and a hose comes out of that if you want to get very detailed with your engine. Again, you don't have to get detailed if you don't want to. Most of this stuff will not be seen unless somebody's really looking at it. So the next thing that I'm going to get into is the swing arm assembly and how the swing arm attaches to the frame. This is called your swing arm. This is what attaches the rear wheel, which is right here. It sits just like this. It attaches the rear wheel to the rest of the frame. Okay, how does it attach to the frame? It attaches this piece right here, this pole will attach onto these pegs of the frame. And it should be a pretty snug fit. I'm gonna have to kind of pull it a little bit, but it goes on just like that. And if you put a brass rod or wire, whatever in there, it should be able to swing just like it does on a real motorcycle. Okay, I'm gonna remove this for simplicity. Now I want to talk about this bracket. So this bracket, I don't know what it's called, attaches to the motorcycle just like this. And mine is warped and bent to all hell, but it should look just like that. Okay? If yours is not all warped like mine, you will be able to put on this piece. So the way that this piece goes on, you're going to see two notches, one on either side. You're going to see two notches on this piece. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there they are. And the way you put it on is notch to notch, just like that. Okay, I'm not going to be able to actually put it on because, like I said, mine is very warped, but it should sit something like this. Not on the bottom here though, it's going to sit up here where the notches are. Why is this piece important? I'm going to get into that. because you have what I believe is the suspension. I may be completely wrong, but I believe this is the suspension. So if you take a look at the swing arm right here, you're going to have a hole. If you take this piece, okay, on the bottom of this piece there's a peg. The peg goes into the hole, okay, just like that. On top of this piece, you're going to take this yo-yo looking Beyblade thingamajig, and it goes in just like that. Put a wire or a brass rod, goes in like that, okay. This goes into your actual metal coil. What makes me believe is the actual suspension. It goes in just like that. Then you have this piece, and this piece goes onto the top of the coil. I'm not sure if this rod has to go inside of it. It may or may not, you can figure that out, but it'll go just like that. So this will be at the top of the coil, okay. And then the top of this piece attaches to this piece just like that. So now we're back to where we started. So if you did this all correctly, it should attach just like this, okay. And this is going to be facing towards the rear part of the motorcycle. This part will be facing towards the rear. Alright, so now that I went over all the swing arm things, I'm going to mention a couple of other things here. First off, you have this piece which goes on just like that. It's decorative, very nice. And then once you have the swing arm attached, which I'm going to go ahead and attach it again. Okay, so we attached our swing arm. You're going to put these two pieces as so. This piece has two pegs. The pegs go into these two holes. Just like that. And then I believe this is the kickstart. Not sure. This will go on like this. Is it correct? Alright, and take two on this. So this piece right here, which I believe is the kickstart, or it may just be a footrest, will go on like this. There's a peg right here. It goes into this hole. You gotta find a way to attach the other side, and it'll go just like that. And this is where Asuka's foot will actually rest, is where her right foot will rest on. So you need to make sure this is well reinforced so that it doesn't fall. This is how you attach the rear wheel. So you have the swing arm. I showed you how you connected it to the frame earlier. The swing arm connects to the wheel right here using a brass rod or wire. Right? If you're really good and you know what you're doing, you can actually attach it so that you can let it spin freely. So go ahead and do that if you know how to do it. It'll go on just like this. But before you put on the swing arm, there's a couple things that you need to attach. So we're looking at the starboard side, the right side of the motorcycle. On the right side of the motorcycle, there's going to be two things. There's going to be a brake, or a disc brake, which I'm pretty sure sits on top of these pegs, just like that. And then on top of that is going to be this disc brake assembly. So the brake pad assembly. So the disc brake will go in between the brake pad, just as it does in real life, just like that. And this peg will go into the big hole, just like that. And then finally the swing arm goes on just like this. That's how your wheel will look from the starboard side of the motorcycle. Next, I'm going to show you how the port side, or the left side, of the motorcycle will look. Now we're looking at the port side or left side of the motorcycle. Here's our swing arm from before. You want to make sure that the hole is facing towards you. You take your rear wheel and you want to make sure that the shorter side of the wheel is facing towards you again. The way that this is going to go on is you have your chain. The chain attaches to the wheel using a peg and hole. Here's your peg and here's your hole. It goes on just like this. I'm going to show you. It goes on like that. Then this chain is going to feed through this hole. Now, this is where you're going to need to grab a pair of sprue cutters or nippers, okay? And this is in the instructions by Vispo. You're going to need to cut the bottom part of this chain somewhere around here. The reason that you're going to need to do this is because in order to feed this bottom part of the chain through this hole, you're going to need to cut that bond. And then you'll need to rebond it again using some glue. So this part is going to pass through the hole and go towards the engine. The engine, let's pretend it's attached to our frame. The engine, the way it attaches to the chain is that the gear goes on right here. Just like that. Very simple. Finally, there are two brackets that I want to show you. You have this bracket, which is synonymous to the one on the other side. It attaches right here, two pegs, two holes. It attaches like this. Simple. And then you have this piece. Now this piece is a mystery to me because first off, as you can see, it's all warped in my kit. And second, I'm about 95% sure that it is backwards, that this footrest is supposed to be facing towards this direction. So I may need to cut this and then re-glue it here. Hopefully on your kit it's in the correct direction. Every picture I've seen, this piston or whatever this is on the bottom side and the bracket looks like this. So the way that I've seen it attached is that this peg will go through this hole. This will go towards the front of the motorcycle, and then this peg right here will attach to this hole on the engine, just like that. If you followed all the instructions that I've shown you so far, your motorcycle should be fully assembled at this point. You need to be very careful about determining what needs to be placed first. I would recommend attaching stuff to the frame last, because once you attach it to this frame, it's there. It's going to be a lot difficult, a lot harder to move it around and get different angles and do all the stuff that you need to do. There are some parts that are going to need to be pre-painted, and then there are some that you might just want to brush paint once it's all already assembled. Alright, and finally, to finish up this video, we're going to get into the assembly of Asuka herself and the helmet. So here's the main part of the body. You're going to have to paint the skin, the bikini, some of the suit, and then you're going to have these two pieces here which go on the outside or the front part of the suit. This is to allow you to paint the skin without any issues. So this part goes on the left. You want to line it up so that the arm and the shoulder here line up with this curve. This curve lines up with the breast. Same thing on the other side. Line up the curve of the shoulder and the curve of the breast, and then in the end it should look just like this. Okay? Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Her left arm is going to go on like this. This is going to be resting on top of the helmet. Right arm is going to go on like this, and that's going to be holding the sunglasses. You have the back part of the hair, which goes on like that. It should fit pretty well. Shouldn't have to do a lot of work on it. And the front bangs go on just like that. Okay. And then on either side, you're gonna have some strands of hair that attach to these pegs, or attach to these holes using these pegs, and that's just where her ribbons go. There should be another hair piece just right here. This hair piece goes on just like that. Okay, very simple stuff. Assembly of the helmet. The top part of the helmet, just align the pegs with the holes. Here's the pegs, here's the holes. Line them together, putty. And now you have your helmet, and her hand should rest on top of the helmet, something like this. Alright. Then you have the sunglasses. The sunglasses are held by their left part of their frame, just like that. And I think the easiest way that you're going to be able to attach this is either super glue if you want to, or if you want them to be removable, place a very small magnet here, and place a very small magnet or wire right there, and then you can use magnets to hold it together. And if you've gotten to this point and you followed all the way through, you should have a fully assembled kit that looks just like this. Hopefully you didn't have too much issue with warping and fitting. That may be an issue when you get to the actual panels, but if you putty correctly, you'll be able to fix that without too much trouble. If this video was helpful for you and you were able to build the kit using it, I would love to see your work. Just go ahead and leave a comment with like an Imgur gallery or something, or even better, a video, and show me what you made, because I really like this kit, and I love to see all the different ways that people paint it. I'm also going to be posting how I paint it once I get to that. So if this was helpful for you guys, go ahead and like it. You can subscribe if you want. I plan to do some more garage kit videos in the future. And if you have any questions, just let me know. If you need any photos, any detailed photos, let me know, and I'll try to help you as best as I can. So that's it for this video, guys. You all have a good day.